Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're digging into the one thing that can absolutely make or break your garden: sunlight. We're going to figure out exactly how much sun our favorite vegetables really need to be happy.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You plant everything with so much hope, you water it, you wait, and you end up with these, spindly, kind of sad-looking plants. It's so frustrating, and it really makes you wonder, what is the big secret I'm missing here? Well, it turns out, just like in real estate, the most important thing is location, location, location. And for a garden, that boils down to one thing: sun. It is, without a doubt, the single most critical piece of the puzzle. You can have the best soil in the world, but without enough light, your garden just isn't going to work.
So, the big question is, how much sun is enough? To figure that out, let's break it down with a super simple system I like to call the vegetable sun scale. Think of it as a cheat sheet for matching the right plant to the right spot in your yard.
Okay, let's start at the lower end of the scale. 3 to 4 hours of direct sun a day. This is pretty much the absolute minimum you need to grow anything you can eat. But hey, if that's all you've got, don't despair. You definitely still have some great options.
This shady spot is perfect for all kinds of leafy greens. We're talking lettuce, spinach, kale, the works. And here's the cool part: that little bit of shade is actually a good thing for them. It helps keep them from bolting. That's when they go to seed too early, and it actually makes their leaves more tender and less bitter than the ones that get blasted by the sun all day long.
All right, let's move on up the scale. What happens when your garden gets a solid 5 to 6 hours of direct sun? Well, now things start to get really interesting, and your planting possibilities open up quite a bit.
With that extra sunlight, your plants have enough energy to do something amazing: grow their harvest underground. Yep, this is root veggie territory. You can now add things like carrots, beets, and potatoes to your garden plan, right alongside all those leafy greens.
And here we are, the top of the scale, the gold standard. 7 to 8 or even more hours of sun. This is what most of us picture when we dream about a big, thriving vegetable garden.
If you are lucky enough to have a spot that gets this much sun, congratulations! You can grow all those classic summer heavy hitters. We're talking big, juicy tomatoes, all kinds of peppers, squash, cucumbers, you name it. These are the fruit and crops that need long, hot days full of sunshine to give you those massive harvests. This really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? On one side, you have your cool season greens, perfectly happy chilling in partial sun. On the other, the summer powerhouses that are just soaking up every ray they can get. It really is all about matching the right plant to the right place.
Okay, so the theory makes sense. But how do you actually figure out what's going on in your own unique yard? Let's talk about how you can become a sun mapping expert for your very own garden. This is a super simple but really powerful trick. Just sketch a rough map of your yard. Then, for one whole day, pop outside every hour and just shade in the areas that are getting direct sun. By the end of the day, you can literally count the hours of sun for each spot. Now you know exactly what you're working with. Just one little tip: remember to do this again in a different season because the sun's path across the sky changes a lot. Okay, now that you're a sun mapping pro, let's get into some next level tips. These are kind of like insider tricks for using the science of light to your advantage to get the absolute most out of your garden.
Have you ever had your spinach or lettuce just suddenly shoot up a flower stalk and get all bitter? That's called bolting. And a lot of us think it's just about the heat, but the real culprit is something called photoperiodism. It's basically a plant's internal clock. And get this, it's not really tracking the length of the day. It's actually responding to how long the nights are.
So here's how we can use that to our advantage. Plants like spinach and turnips are long day plants, which means they're programmed to flower when the days start getting longer in the spring. That's why they bolt in early summer. So here's the pro tip: plant them in mid-summer instead. That way they'll be maturing as the days get shorter in the fall, and you'll get a beautiful harvest with no bolting. Pretty clever, right?
We can also get hands-on and manipulate light ourselves. It's a technique called blanching. You intentionally cover up parts of a plant, like the base of leeks or celery, to block out the sun. This stops them from producing chlorophyll, which makes them pale, way more tender, and gives them that delicate, less bitter flavor we love. You're basically using shade as a tool.
So we've been focused on our own backyards, which is great. But what if we can take these same ideas about sun and shade and apply them on a massive, world-changing scale? Let's zoom out for a second and look at a seriously cool innovation.
The concept has a bit of a fancy name: Agrivoltaics. But the idea behind it is brilliant and simple. It's using the same piece of land for two things at once:
making clean solar energy and growing our food. And this is what it actually looks like. It's pretty wild to see. Instead of having this big debate about whether a field should be used for farming or for solar panels, this whole approach just asks, why can't we do both at the same time?
And the potential here is just staggering. By combining these two things, studies show that we could increase the total productivity of that land by over 60%. That is a huge deal. We're talking more food and more energy from the exact same footprint.
The benefits just keep stacking up. The shade from the panels actually helps conserve water in the soil and protects the crops from extreme heat. Sound familiar? It's the same exact principle as protecting our leafy greens. For some crops, this can actually increase how much food you can grow. Plus, farmers get a second paycheck from selling electricity, and it eases the massive global competition for land. It's a win-win-win.
So we'll end on that thought. You know, it all started with just trying to understand a shady little corner of our own garden. But it turns out that very same principle, learning to work with sun and shade, might just hold a key to a much more sustainable future for both our food and our energy. Definitely something to think about.